Hello and welcome to FtLoC. Whether you're watching this, the extended version on the audio podcast, or the shortened version where you get to see our lovely faces on YouTube, you're absolutely welcome. And yes, indeed, we do have an audio-only podcast version of this. You can find the Carfection For the Love of Cars podcast anywhere where you get podcasts. And if you're watching this on YouTube, remember to hit the bell icon to be notified. We already know that if you're watching this, you're one of our biggest fans, and thank you very much for being that. But if you subscribe to the channel and you hit the bell icon, you'll be notified every time we put out a new film. And as far as it makes your life more interesting with great car content, it makes our life slightly better by getting them out to more people. But long overdue already is the introduction of my FtLoC friend, Mr. Henry Catchpole.
Hello, how you doing, Drew? Nice to have you back.
Yes, it's been a little bit, as you mentioned in the previous episode where I wasn't here, a bit sporadic. We've had the summer holidays, you've been cycling up and down mountains. As you've probably seen if you are watching this on YouTube, and I'll have to describe it to you if you're listening to it on the podcast, sat in front of us here is a very lovely little award.
Thing.
Yes, this old thing.
Oh,
hello. That, I'll bring it up to the microphone so you can actually hear it. That is an award given to us at the International Motor Film Festival for our Porsche GT3 Manuals Matter film that Henry wrote and starred in and was shot by our very own George and Charlie and edited by Charlie, won in the Best Journalism category.
Thank you very much for all the comments because people I've met as well have all said sort of that it really struck a chord. So I'm chuffed to bits. It's just nice that people get it. Manuals do matter. They do matter.
And yeah, thank you to everyone involved in the awards for giving it to us. There's quite a few judges involved.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of judges and a lot of really kind of impressive people there. So I feel it's just an honour that they've watched our films. So that was really nice. And we beat Top Gear. They had a couple of films and also Car as well. So the quality that we were up against is humbling, is that the word? I think humbling. You must say at some point in the all acceptance speeches.
Yeah, we've been nominated. I think every single year it's been in there. Charlie, before he started working for us, won in the Best Student category, and Henry won last year with other people. And we're very glad that we've now brought one home for the team. So, yay us! But beyond the achievements of the past, we've got another packed episode. We'll be talking about the films that we have gone up on the site and the shoots that we've been having recently. We'll be talking about the motorsports, and we'll have a slightly more dramatic than usual long-termer update, which you hinted at in the last episode.
I forgot we were going to talk about that.
Yes. But first, let's jump into the news.
One of the exciting things, I think, is this. Do you see the Integrale, the new recreation Integrale?
It feels like it's been the season for a lot of cars kind of getting, because you were talking about the DB5 in the last episode. Yeah. And Integrale is obviously one of those cars that really flares up the imagination of car people. I had seen some hints and some talking about it, but fill us in.
So it's by Automobili Amos, an Italian coach builder. And it's essentially, I suppose, a bit like a Singer 911 or
so these
Porsche 911 reimagined by Singer, as you have to call them.
A resto mod, essentially.
Yeah, basically. So a lot of the panels have been replaced by carbon fibre panels. They've welded the rear doors shut. It's all beautifully trimmed inside. The uprated engine puts out 330 brake horsepower. New intake system uprated intercooler, improved exhaust. And a new engine loom, as somebody pointed out. So hopefully the electrical gremlins of the original might be overcome.
It is almost going into a golden age of these kind of recreations, and having the Integrale on that list is very, very exciting indeed.
It's a red button with a rocket ship on it. A bit like the rocket, I think, from the light car company rocket on the front of that. They haven't said what that does yet, so I'm intrigued to know what that is.
Well, it's funny that you should bring up the light car company, which was obviously a company. It's almost like we planned that. Which was
we didn't.
Which was Gordon Murray's company, Gordon Murray of Formula One and the McLaren F1 fame, who a couple of months ago, it may even been almost a year ago now. It feels like a long time ago. Unveiled that his company is being reborn, and one of the key things that it's developing is a new form of manufacturing, the iStream Superlight
Because he's done 3 versions of this iStream now, isn't he?
Yes,
the original one, then he did a carbon fiber one, and there's then this lightweight is the.
So what has been shown off this week, what the news element is that they've shown off the tub that uses this technology. So it all been theorized. The actual material that it was going to be made of had been demonstrated to be strong, and that they were going to make the chassis. And TVR, the Griffith, which is going to be starting manufacturing next year, the rebooting.
Is it?
It's TVR, so we never really know what's going to happen with TVR.
It's got a bit quiet on TVR front.
Well, they've only just shown off the construction of the tub.
I know. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm sure.
I know people have put money down for one, so they've certainly got people's money. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, Gordon Murray's chassis uses a pressing that uses recycled carbon fiber. And
is the word honeycomb in there?
Honeycomb is in there. So instead of just having pressed panels, they're like 2 panels with like honeycomb in between. I may be completely oversimplifying it, but it makes it lighter, stronger, better for NVH, and far less prone to rust. These are all good things. And it's flexible enough apparently to be used in any kind of body style. The Griffith will be...
I think you mean adaptable, not flexible. Just to be clear on that.
Yes, it's actually the absolute opposite of flexible. It should be ultra rigid, but also affordable to make. Right, what else do we have in the news docket?
There's been a few new 911 spy shots out there. So Porsche hasn't officially said anything, but we've seen cars less and less disguised out there around the Nürburgring. So that looks like a 911, really.
Yes,
to be honest.
so we're currently in the 991.2 generation. So will this be a development of that, or will this be a whole new?
No, this will be a whole new.
So whole new generation.
This will be the 992, as people have been calling it. Whether it actually will end up being called 992, I don't know. But other news. Do you see the life-size Lego? We've got the.
Yes.
There. So is that which has got how many pieces? That's got. You built it.
2,000.
3,599 piece.
Yeah,
share on that you
and
built.
That took a while.
And they've built one with over 1 million pieces that's actually full 1-to-1 scale, and Andy Wallace drove it.
That must be the single most uncomfortable thing to sit in the world. I mean, if you've ever sat on a Lego brick, it's not the most pleasant experience in the world.
Do you imagine he had pedals and you just put his foot on and go, ow,
yeah.
Ow. Ow, it's probably I can get up to more than 12 miles an hour because it was all we could sort of, just gingy. Ow! But that was sort of as fast as you could go.
Yes. Well, speaking of cars on tracks, this one going slightly quicker and hopefully not made of Lego. There have been attempts at and rumors of a mid-engine Corvette for the last 20 odd years plus, and there have been concepts. I think it was CERV concept they did. They showed it off right around the time when probably the early 90s actually, almost close to 30 years ago. The concepts that that Corvette had put out, things that going up against stuff like the NSX, like that kind of form factor around that time, but it finally looks like it's going to be a reality, and the car has been in camo testing at the Nürburgring, which surely is an indication that it's very much on its way. Doesn't really look a huge amount like the standard Corvette, which obviously has a huge, long, front engine, rear wheel drive setup. Yeah, long bonnet, short rear overhang. This looks obviously more mid-engine supercar like.
And hopefully they'll build rather more of them than Ford did the Ford GT. Sort of
well, exactly. With the Ford and the success of the GT, just the international renownedness of that car, forgetting obviously Ford is of course American.
Coming on to that actually, so Ford, slightly scraping the barrel in terms of news, but like I said, there wasn't much. There was the Mach 1, which is they're going to be their all-electric car. It's an SUV inspired by the Mustang.
I mean,
I'm kind of tempted just to leave it at that and just let people, just let that wash over people. Moving on to sport.
Yes, motorsport news. Motorsport, yeah. So we've been away for a couple of weeks, so we've missed a couple of races. You talked about the, was it the Belgian Grand Prix? You're talking about Spa, and since then we've also had the Italian Grand Prix.
We have, yes.
Which was fastest lap in F1 history for Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen qualified on pole. Really, really excited. Couldn't quite make it stick. for the finish, and Lewis Hamilton managed to extend his lead.
Much to the delight of the Italian crowd, obviously.
Speaking of Kimi, that's kind of more what I wanted to talk about, because the driver lineup for 2019 is beginning to solidify. Pierre Gasly is going to replace Danny Ricciardo at Red Bull, because Danny Ricciardo decided not to re-sign. I think the offer was on the table.
I think so, yeah.
And as one of the most...
Because Ricciardo going to Renault.
Yeah, to Renault, who have quite openly said that they don't expect to be competitive for the next couple of years. Yeah. Max Verstappen is obviously staying put. Yep. And Raikkonen is... we first heard that Charles Leclerc would be replacing... was going to be signed at Ferrari. Wasn't confirmed that Kimi was going to leave. That now has been confirmed.
And Kimi found out at Monza.
Oh, he found out at Monza.
Yeah, it wasn't his decision to leave.
Oh. Did he find out during the race, or is it with 9 laps to go?
9 laps to go, yeah.
By the way, Kimi, we're not going to re-sign you for next year. Oh, well, okay, foot off the gas. No, that seems to be...
Leave me alone, I'm going to Sauber.
Sauber, yeah.
Where he started his career.
Force India has had its financial woes. Looks like it will be bought by Daddy Stroll. If your dad owns the team, it seems very unlikely that you won't be racing for that team. But nothing's confirmed on that end. McLaren, full driver change.
Yep.
So out are Stoffel and Alonso, who's retiring, who will presumably see crop up in something like IndyCar.
Yeah, it looks
next
like
year.
He's going to IndyCar, doesn't it? It seems very unfair that Stoffel is
caught
out.
Up. Yeah,
because I can't help but feel that he's done it extraordinarily well all the way through the junior ranks. He's clearly a very, very talented driver. Alonso has this sort of, I'm pretty sure Alonso has a certain way he wants a car set up. You just think that McLaren has to have been built around what Alonso wanted. It's not going to have been, Stoffel, is there anything you'd particularly like? Oh, thanks for the input. Okay, we're going to go with what Alonso wants.
Chalk Stoffel up as one of the victims of the way F1 works, I guess. There's been many over the years who've come close and who frankly have been given chances and haven't necessarily having the right chance at the right time with the right team. And maybe Stoffel is one of those. I know from what I've heard, he's very dedicated to getting better. But unfortunately, he won't be doing that next year with McLaren, who instead are bringing on Lando Norris.
This is the big worry, because Lando's obviously, again, been, like Stoffel Van Dorn, fantastic on the way up. He's a very young guy. He's brilliant on social media. Follow him on Twitter. He's
active.
Very funny. Yeah, really funny. And but yeah, you worry that same might happen to him. Obviously, there's not the Alonso barrier there, so perhaps it won't.
But other driver is Carlos Sainz, who is coming across to McLaren. So it'll be an all-new McLaren. Toro Rosso is still trying to fill its other gap. Brendan Hartley is staying put.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh, well, as far as we know. He hasn't signed yet, but I think he might be
delighted if he is, but
not the luckiest.
All the rumours were that he was
not the luckiest driver in the world. So. Yeah. Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen staying at Haas. Danny Ricciardo obviously coming on with Nico Hülkenberg at Renault, and Kimi Räikkönen joining Marcus Ericsson at Sauber. Essentially, we're still going to be looking next year, in all likelihood, at Vettel and because Mercedes obviously staying the same. We're going to see Lewis and Sebastian duking it out again next year. And
I had something the other day. So I think it's April 2013 was the last time a car other than a McLaren, Ferrari or Red Bull won a Grand Prix.
Wow.
How depressing is that? Best racing I've seen in a long time was a Goodwood Revival.
Right, yes, and you attended the revival.
I did, yes, but in fact the best race I saw was I went on the Saturday, and when I was home on the Sunday I watched the live feed, and the very last race of the weekend was fantastic. It was basically Phil Keane in a listed Jaguar Nobly.
That's the most British sounding name for a car, isn't it?
That's great, isn't it? We ought to try some of the new listers actually, because they look quite good, don't they?
Yeah.
But he started from the pit lane. He was on pole, went around green flag lap, and he had a sticking throttle, wheeled back in the pit lane, did a green flag lap, and then he set off at the back and came through to win, basically. But you didn't sort of see that until about halfway through the race. You were watching the battles at the front, and then you suddenly realised, hang on a minute, he's gaining on me. Could he do this? Could he do this? And he duly did. But just watching the cars moving around, the racing that's going on.
At speed, the proper wheel-to-wheel, yeah.
Yeah. But just seeing the drivers working, seeing the cars moving, seeing different sorts of cars being hustled in different sorts of ways was fantastic.
Was there anything on the rally front?
Rally front, we've got Turkey this weekend, which is going to be a very, very rough rally. Everyone's having to make new notes for that, so that will be interesting to see. We don't know what's happening next year, really, with Ogier, whether he's going to stay where he is at Ford, or whether Citroen's still trying to woo him, or what different things that may throw up. So I think Latval is out of contract as well, so whether he'll stay at Toyota or not, I don't know. But there could be a few sort of movements around that, and whether Meek is going to sort of reappear potentially in another team. That's obviously something that could happen, because he's still a top flight driver that some teams could probably do with, really. Nothing sort of much to update, but it's interesting coming into this fairly busy last half of the last section of the season. Yeah, and 3 drivers still in contention. So yeah.
Exciting times ahead. Right, now exciting times on the channel as well, as we've got quite a lot of stuff coming up. Shoots that we've been on recently. Now, you and Charlie have just come back from Hungary.
Yes.
Driving the McLaren 600LT. Now, that is under embargo for driving impressions.
Yep.
What can you tell us about the car?
I don't know.
It's the first time you've seen it in the metal.
It is,
What did you think of it, looks-wise?
You really like it, don't you?
I do. I saw it in a studio a couple of months ago and had it right next to a 675LT. And next to it, I found that the 675LT looked under-designed.
Okay, because I'm the opposite. I think the 675LT looks beautifully sort of clean and sort of pure, and I really like that look.
We'll have the film and a write-up, which will be on the website, which you can find at carfection.com, on the 26th of September of this month. So not too long, 2 weeks or so, less. On the other end of the scale, you were looking at some Defenders earlier in the week as well.
Yes, yeah. Regular watchers or listeners to this might remember the Defender that we showed from ACH Classic, which was a sort of, almost, you described it as like a Singer of Defenders, really. Yeah,
it's what it felt like, a really high quality back to scratch and rebuild up in the best possible. The car that Land Rover never could have made in the first place.
Exactly, yeah. So we went up there, did a bit of a sort of film just looking around that car and the other things that they happen to have on site. But we then did a film also on something...
Sorry.
Is that your phone?
It was my phone.
Back to the 6-wheeled Defender fire engine.
That sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. How cool is that? So we, I got to go out and drive that, and we got Dave to talk us around it and just lift up all the lockers and look at the pump in the back and put the lights up and down and turn the lights on and stuff. So yeah, that was really good fun.
That will be coming to the channel very, very soon. And you crammed in another film while you were there.
Oh, did, yes. Yeah, we had a quick look at my Mark II Escort, which lives up there and should hopefully be... we've ordered up some parts for it and bits and bobs, and we'll try and get the electrics slightly more reliable. And there's various things that need doing to it, but I'm going to actually finally start hopefully getting it into some sort of order so that it can be rallied, and we'll hopefully do, if people are interested, then we'll do some films on that and how it progresses, and then when we go rallying it.
Yes, we have some films coming up soon to the channel on Audis. I've been out driving the new Q8, and I also drove the A8. We took both of them out at night in London. We ended up finding a great location with a great view, and we got some stunning stills. But because we were shooting at night, it got more and more kind of dodgy around that area. It was a fairly nice part of town, but the longer we stayed there, like, these cars started creeping up to where we were, and these guys were just sat in their car watching us film, and then they're just kind of like laughing kind of maniacally, and we were like, should we just wrap here and go somewhere else? And then we went into a McDonald's to grab a coffee, and it looks like they'd followed us into the car park, so it was getting a little bit hairy. So we've got that coming up, which should be fun. And coming very, very soon to the channel, we have the last 2 episodes of our series where we've been following Mike Channel on his racing series. He took part in the GRDC Ginetta entry-level racing series for novices, people who've never raced before. I went and attended his last race weekend, which was a lot of fun. I'm not going to spoil it for you how it ends, but we now have the entire series caught on film. We've got the last couple of episodes coming out on that very, very soon. Were there any other shoots? Yes,
Hurricane.
you Hurricane. How did I forget? Because I was on holiday and I wasn't there. We have another Lamborghini film in the can, so tell us all about it.
Well, it's the Huracan Performante Spider in bright yellow.
Of course, it's a Lamborghini.
Exactly. And yeah, that's kind of
the premise.
That's the premise. It is still pretty good to drive, actually. It's not a sort of a wobbly mess like some of the Ferraris can be or have been in the past. So, yeah, it still sounds great. You get the roof down.
What's the engine?
It's a V10. So yeah, it's that.
It's a naturally aspirated
V10, which is
God bless Lamborghini.
Indeed.
And their crazy, crazy engines. That will be coming to the channel very, very soon, and I'm reliably informed that it looks fantastic. In fact, was that the one where you almost got chased away by a farmer? Was that shoot?
No, well, we had a discussion with a farmer who turned up in his tractor, and we ended up being able to use bits of his access road and stuff as well. So that was
thank you to
really
that farmer. Very kind indeed.
So yeah, and he showed us his sheep sheds as well.
So it isn't always about supercars. We do have our reliable long-termer, and you hinted at it in the last episode of FtLoC, but you were going to fill in.
Yeah, because the long-termer was actually on our Lamborghini shoot. I did a little bit of behind-the-scenes footage with it, so you can probably see that now. Here we are again, chasing the light. There's Charlie.
Filming wind turbines.
His light's sort of gone now, really. He's filming wind turbines instead. God, the sky looks lovely, doesn't it? And what are we filming, Charlie?
Huracan
there it is.
It's hard to miss.
And there's Andy doing some photos. Great look at it. All its glory. Oh, no. Cookies. Giant cookies. Nice to have the red disco back. Stuffed to the gunnels as usual.
Our Disco Sport has been a reliable companion on location for quite a while this year.
And somebody did ask actually in the comments below, because we did a roundup of the last 6 months sort of, which has been up on the channel, so you can have a look at that. And somebody said, has it been reliable? Because there are obviously lots of stories about JLRs not being particularly reliable. And yeah, from what we can say from R1, it has been really reliable. There's been a couple of electrical glitches in terms of just like the way the infotainment very occasionally does something odd, but then resets itself, turn it off, turn it on again. It's been fine, and that's literally been it, isn't it?
No, and the only problems that we've had with it have been inflicted upon it.
Yes. So this was the I mentioned it very last week. It had to go back to JLR because somebody ran into me on the M25. Yay! Traffic slowing, traffic stops. I stopped. Person behind me did not stop. I had enough time to look in the rearview mirror and see this car bearing down on me, and there was nowhere for me to go. So I will say it was a couple of things. The car stood up extremely well. I was able to actually drive it away. I saw the picture, and it did not look. It looked like you had backed into a post. Yeah. It did not look like it had been rear-ended at speed. No. So that was extremely impressive. The sort of test it was the first road traffic accident I've ever been involved in. Sitting there, first thing you hear is, "Hello, sir, are you all right?" Or no, "Hello, are you all right?" And I'm thinking, blimey, perhaps the impact was harder than I thought. And
the driver's in the car with you.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. And I was in the car on my own at that point. Do you require police, fire, or ambulance? And it was the SOS thing in the car, which obviously there's no reason, but it detects you've had an accident and automatically calls a service centre somewhere, call centre. And so I talked them through the next probably 20 minutes or whatever.
Really?
Whilst I was getting the car off the motorway as well, saying exactly what it was.
And they've
Obviously,
called directly into the car.
called directly into the car, so it just comes through the speaker system. You don't have to do it. It's not reliant on your phone being in the car or anything either. And yeah, it was, you tell them exactly where it's taken place, where it's all is. And I thought that was very impressive, actually. The other thing that came out of it was so when they took our long-termer back, they lent us the lower spec petrol version. It was really good, actually. So it's about 12, possibly £13,000 cheaper, so a good chunk cheaper than ours. And to be honest, didn't really it's not as quick, fair enough.
Yeah.
And the screen in the middle was smaller, but actually made more sense because you get the buttons down the side for the shortcuts as opposed to having to do everything through the screen. And the heated seat buttons down there that you think they're actually heated seat buttons in the lower spec one as well. And you get
what is it on
wheels.
the Discovery Sport that we have?
So they're still heated seat buttons, but you press it and then you have to go up there to
do it on the screen.
Buttons. It has slightly smaller wheels, so the rides actually felt slightly more in tune with the car. And yeah, to be honest, I thought that was quite it was nice knowing you don't have to spend the £50,000 of our top of the range one to actually still get a car that is very, very good and basically gives you everything that one gives you, I think. So doesn't look quite as good, admittedly, but
no, I did really like the red of our Disco, and I was very glad to see it back.
You don't get those front bumper changes that you get on our one as well. But anyway, I just thought that was worth mentioning as well.
Well, there you go. As far as long-term testing is concerned, it now literally has been tested through its full range of capabilities, including those which we hope none of you ever have to. But it's nice to know that it handled it like a champ. If you have any ideas of kind of cars that you would like us to do long-term tests on, let us know, and we'll see if we can get hold of one and not crash it. But everything else about having it long-term, let us know on Twitter @Carfection or in the comments below on YouTube. But I think with that long-term update, I think it brought us to the end of the episode. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this indeed on YouTube, or if you're listening, thank you so much for being subscribed to the podcast. It's a very new thing for us. We're very grateful to have every single one of you. Twitter @Carfection, Instagram @CarfectionFilms for staying up to date with absolutely everything we do on a day-to-day basis. And remember to be subscribed to the YouTube channel and hit that bell icon. It really, really helps us keep you up to date and helps us build the channel and get the message out to as many people as possible. But without anything else to add, from me, it's goodbye, and we'll see you next time.
Sure.